You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 464 for Sunday the 23rd of July 2023.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Janie.
Hello there, Michelle, and how are we this weeky?
I am very goody. Are you goody? I don't know why I got down this tangent. All I could think of in my head was, don't forget to mention Disneyland had an anniversary. It was 68. And that's all that went in my head when I was doing the introduction. So, sorry, Jane.
Oh, that's okay. As long as you're not saying that I'm 68, that's fine.
Well, no, because you're not. No. I was just trying to think of a way of turning it around, but if I turn the digits around, it makes it even worse. So I think I've already dug myself a big enough hole.
Yeah.
So let's move on really quickly. So we have back on the show, Casey, all the way from Germany. Hello and welcome.
Hi, guys.
So let's just clarify, because your German accent is not very strong. You are technically an American in Germany.
Yes, exactly.
Welcome on the show once more, and I gather you've been a-travelling.
I have, very much so, to, galaxies far, far away.
We are so excited to hear about this fantastic trip you made. So in a very synoptic type of manner, in a sentence, can you sum up what you did?
Well, we went on the Star Cruiser.
Yay!
It was myself, my boyfriend, my mom, and my brother and his wife. And we are just a big old group of nerds. So it was great.
Fantastic. All of you Star Wars fans?
Some of us a little more than others, I think. But yes, generally.
Okay. When did you book this trip? Let's just think about that first.
So this trip came about because my mom had been wanting to go on forever. And I was more of the opinion, let's let other people beta test it first, and then we'll go on once they work out all the knots and everything, after everything's set. Around December, they were visiting us over here, and I said, oh, when are we going to go on the Star Cruiser? And I think within like 2-3 weeks it was booked.
Wow, so it was booked prior to the announcement of its jettisoning off to a planet somewhere in the distance then?
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. But you didn't just go to the Star Cruiser?
No. So what we did was we were in the States visiting for a little bit, and then we went down to Florida, had a couple days at Disney World, and then we went to the Star Cruiser.
What a trip. It
was amazing. It was honestly amazing, because we also had 2 people who were first-time Disney World visitors.
Oh, you can't beat taking a newbie.
Well, it's like I found there's this one stressful thing. You know when you're watching like a really good film with somebody who's never seen it,
mm-hmm.
and you're just staring at them to make sure they're laughing enough or like paying enough attention? I found myself doing that a lot. So I was like, are you looking at that? Are you looking at this? And I was like, no, let them enjoy their vacation. Had to zen myself back a little bit.
I totally get that.
I'm going to say, I think there's a danger, isn't there? Because we enjoy it so much, and when you're taking somebody new for the first time, we've got this potential happening to us because we're trying to convince Molly's boyfriend that he needs to go to Disney World. He's not quite getting it yet, but he will do. There'll be PowerPoint presentations and everything to make sure that he does understand the importance of this. But I think there's that element of you can spend your time thinking, I hope they're enjoying it. I hope they're picking up on all the things. And you're kind of willing them to fall in love with it as much as you love it.
Exactly.
What were the pre-trip expectations of your travel collective? What did you want to get out of this experience?
So for some background, my mom is kind of, very much the matriarch of our nerd family. So she was, the originator of our Disney-ness, of our Star Wars-iness. So this was, Disney and Star Wars and stuff has always been kind of like me and my mom's thing. And like my brother also loves it. And so but we prepared for it differently. I think my mom was looking a little bit more at the spoilers, looking a little bit more at like, oh, how do you end up on different paths and things like that. And I was more, I don't want to know anything. Like, I think you guys did an episode on the Star Cruiser before, and I have not listened to it because I wanted absolutely no spoilers. I only wanted to know, basically what am I generally going to be doing so I know what to pack, and that's it.
Wow.
So I went in, I was like, okay, I know that I'm going to have to interact with people. I know there's going to be missions and stuff for me to do. I know that to have a good time on this, you're going to either have to go full nerd or you're going to have a bad time. And I was like, I am good with going full nerd for 2 days.
So we've got the expectations.
Yeah. It was great.
Talk a little bit about the check-in process for us, please.
Oh my God. Okay, so I think like a month and a half or 2 months before your trip, when you have the Disney Play app, you can link your reservation for the Star Cruiser and you get this thing called a data pad. You can use it in Hollywood Studios and Batu and stuff like that, but it's slightly different because the data pad for the Star Cruiser, you get comms messages. So people on the ship talk to you through that app. And so before you go, they're like, oh, we're so happy you're coming. Here's your itinerary. Here's where you can find this, that, and the other thing. Here's a map of the ship. You already have that kind of excitement building months beforehand because you're like, oh, on this day, we're going to go to Batu. And on this day, we're going to do this and we can do this or we can do that. It's really, really nice. I've never been on a cruise before. That's the idea, is that they're trying to make it feel like you're on an actual cruise just in space. So there was like a lot of build up to it, and then a few days before you get on the cruise ship, suddenly you get a message and, spoilers for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled like me. The first order is investigating the ship, but everything should be fine. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of, setting the tone for what's going on. So we took a taxi we were staying at the Wilderness Lodge, took a taxi over. From the minute you get to the property, even though you're still in a taxi, even the security guards are in theming. The security guards are, they have their background stories as well. So they're in normal security guard, Disney uniforms. There's no confusion sort of between, okay, who's like an actor and who's an actual security guard. Like they're wearing the uniforms. But he came up and he was asking us, like, do you have any blasters, lightsabers? You don't. So you're completely unprotected up there. Like he goes through this whole spiel about, believe in the Force. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like they really, from the minute you arrive, they are all in. It was just really cool. So you get there, they take all your bags for you. You kind of stand in a boarding lane. They have someone come remind you, hey, make sure you have your data pad app. Everything you need is going to be on the data pad. They take a picture for you when you first get there with your group. And you see all these people. There were people, we wore like themed outfits. There was full on costumes. People, fully face painted, with the Twi'lek head thingamajigs, all that stuff, like fully decked out, ready to go.
Wow.
I think so many people being able to buy into it really does enhance the experience from what I've heard.
It was amazing. Not just the cast, but the other people on the ship, honestly, made my experience. Like, I'll get into that a little bit later, but the people you met on the ship were just absolutely some of the loveliest people I've ever met.
Aww.
So you're in this line. Go in, you do like the regular, they scan your bag. It's very, you feel very safe because they check your bags, they check you, they put you through a metal detector, and then you're in sort of this like concrete runway type situation. You watch a safety video that's all themed, of course, and then you get into your, quote unquote shuttle. First of all, it's shuttle shaped. It's like round, and there's windows up on the top where you can watch your shuttle take off. And it doesn't just do, my assumption is that it's an elevator. It doesn't just do the up motion. It goes, it does a quick start stop where you feel like you've been ejected from the platform and you're going up, and then does another little shake when you get to the top. And the whole time you can watch your ship flying away through these windows. And then you arrive and you walk into this massive atrium, and it's just like, oh my God, I am in Star Wars. Like, I'm in space.
Did it totally sell you, that part of the experience? Did it feel realistic?
Oh, girl, when I tell you, I was like on the verge of tears. I was like, oh my God, this is like every childhood dream, like coming real. Because it's just like all of the windows, and there are a large number of windows because you come up in the atrium, and if you look to your left, the first thing you see is like the command area where there's, the front of the ship and you can see out, and it's the bridge, and you can see out, and all of the windows are synced up the whole time you're there. So I don't know who rendered this, who set that video up where you're just watching the ship fly through space, but they did an amazing job.
Wow.
And it's just a massive atrium. There's holograms. And again, just the staff that works there, they are amazing. They were the heart and soul of everything. Not just, there's a kind of a core group of actors playing characters, but there's also a ton of just like, regular staff, bar staff, people who help you make sure your account's all set up correctly, your bands are all set up correctly. The waiters were amazing. And every single one of them is not only outstanding, amazing, they have the whole story. They have their whole background. They know what planet they're from. They have a story for why they left their planet, what they want to do with the rest of their life, how they ended up on the Starliner. Like, it's amazing. You can ask them any question and they have an answer. Like, I decided I was going full, rebellion, full resistance against the First Order. And I just started asking around, and like, it was the regular crew members who pointed me in the right direction.
You mentioned going into the atrium. At what point were you then able to go into your rooms to check the accommodations out?
Oh, immediately. So there's like, they give you a check-in time. I think it's from like 12 to 3 or something like that. I wish I could check my data pad, but one of my big gripes is that pretty much immediately once you leave the ship, they shut down your data pad and you can't access it anymore.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's a shame.
Which was really sad because it was really, like, I had a bunch of conversations in there with the characters. But we came in, and they bring all your bags up for you, which was really lovely. We came in, we were, like, standing around the atrium. The first thing I did was pop by the shops, of course. But then after that, we stopped and we checked in at guest services because you can put multiple credit cards. So we were all staying in one room, but we all just put our own credit cards on our band to make things easier. And then we went up to the room, and we were in, I believe it was it's either a Grand Captain or a Grand Admiral suite. So we were in one room for all 5 of us.
Right.
And it was amazing. You walk in and there's like the sort of little kitchenette, which my one other gripe was that there was not a coffee machine in the room.
Oh.
You had to leave the room to get coffee, which I know those are, such lazy problems, but like I was shocked. You walk in and there's just, a window outside and you just see all the stars and all the spaceships passing you by because you're still at the port. Mm-hmm. There's this amazing little detail we noticed was there's this weird flower looking type thing behind a glass case, like in a glass case in your room. And there's a little thing on it that if you translate it with your app, it says, toxicity level. And we just kind of noticed over the days we were there, hey, did the toxicity level of that plant go up? And as we left, we noticed that the plant had opened and it had like teeth. And so it was some kind of like a venomous, I don't know, animal plant. We don't know exactly what it was, but it was a cool little detail. Mm. But there was, 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, and then there was also beds in the sort of common living room area. Mm-hmm. And it was just lots of space, lots of places to put clothes and things like that. There was a fridge. And actually, I don't know if they do this for all the rooms or just because we were staying in a suite. We had like a box of all these goodies when we got there. And so if anyone wants to eat the kind of candy they give out on the Starliner, I actually took some of it home with me. All you have to do is mix Candy Rocks, chocolate-covered sunflower seeds, and Nerds. And that is the candy mix they give you when you come onto the Starliner.
How cool. With secret recipes shared.
Secret recipes. Oh, I found out so many secrets on this trip. And it was all from just like talking to people. But yeah, the rooms were amazing. I haven't used any, like they give you all face masks and stuff like that. I didn't actually use any of them yet because it's just too special. I brought them back, but I haven't used them.
That's a true Disney fan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have got soap going back to 2010 in this house that I dare not use because it is so special.
Oh, God.
Loving it. So were you comfortable in the room and comfy bed?
Oh, it was amazing. It was so great. And like okay, so I have a one last really amazing thing about the room and one last thing about the room that I was like not super happy with. But I think the second one is something that, at least from people I've talked to, is a pretty common critique. In your room, there's like a robot you can talk to, like on a screen. So you call them and you have a conversation, and whoever set this up, designed this, absolutely amazing. For example, I said, I think I want to join the rebellion. And she understood what I meant and corrected me. She's like, you want to join the resistance? So, like, very, very clever program. I don't know if they have someone listening to it or if it's just really good AI. I don't know. But it was amazing. And she was super helpful. You know, she'd come up with messages and she'd tell you, oh, you need to go here and talk to this person or look for this. And it was really great. And there's several interactions specifically with her, like as a character, where, you know, I had to give her an alibi from the First Order because they were going to try to deactivate her, or I had to help her come up with a story about, you know, how a certain person escaped from the ship, things like that. So that's also part of the story, just while you're sitting in your room.
And did that character interact differently with different members of your party, or was it kind of, yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to tap your M band, as they called it. And so it knows who you are. So if it has, for example, some members of our party were First Order, and some members of our party were Resistance, and some members of our party were more monetarily driven. So if you tap your M band, you know, you'll have a different conversation.
Right.
And based on your M band, she remembers, you know, which one you are and what conversation you had.
Wow.
And then my one gripe is you have these amazing windows where you're looking out into space and it's so awesome, but they have this super light border around them that you can only turn off the border if you turn off the whole window. And I was originally thinking like, oh my God, I want to leave it on all night. I want to just watch the stars go by while I go to sleep. And I realized I couldn't because it was so bright because of the border outside of the window.
Oh, that's a shame, because I would have thought the same as you, that it would have been nice to have, gone to sleep under the stars, so to speak.
Yeah. Can't have everything, I suppose.
True. What a shame, though.
Yeah.
But if that was only the minorest of gripes.
That was, I think probably that and the data pad disappearing so quickly were probably like my biggest issues. Like, so I think I would say that was pretty successful.
So, come on, you're on our podcast. We've been talking 20 minutes, and apart from a few nerds and a bit of trail mix and sunflower seeds, we've not talked about food, and you know I am a little bit hungry now. So, talk to me about the dining experiences.
Okay, first of all, amazing. Like, just hands down. Our waiter was absolutely wonderful, really, really helpful, also just hilarious. I don't know where they're finding these people, but they are just the best. The food was outstanding. The drinks were amazing. I also had, for example, when we first got there, I had some non-alcoholic beverages and everything had a story. Like there was an explanation of, oh, this drink is from this planet and this is actually poisonous, but I'm putting the antidote on top. So make sure you drink it from the top.
Oh, wow.
Like just really creative presentation. Like, and the first night we had all sorts of, you know, I'm a vegetarian, and they were saying, you know, oh, if you want to, you can come talk to the chef when you first get here. They'll be in the main dining room. You can go talk to them. I was like, I just don't eat meat. Like it's not complicated. I don't need to take up his time when there are probably people with like, you know, actual issues. Like there were some people with some, you know, heavy allergies and stuff like that. They had a whole separate kitchen for allergy food prep.
Wow.
And so our first night, the waiter was like, and I understand there's a vegetarian here, or are you all vegetarians? And I said, I'm the vegetarian. Everybody else is fine. Don't worry about it. They brought me, a tofu dish instead of like, I think it was steak that everyone else was having. and there was mashed potatoes, but obviously it was served underneath the meat. And so he brought me my own bowl. He brought me about 10 people's worth of portions of everything. It was really amazing. And I think where they really are outstanding was the desserts. The desserts were amazing. Just like the second night, it was like some kind of lots of mousses and chocolate decorative pieces and very artfully put together, but not in the kind of way, you think of, artsy looking food. You usually only get teeny tiny portions. No, 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 no. They did not mess around with their portions. They did not mess around.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And there was always, lots of questions of, you're a vegetarian? Is gelatin okay? No. Okay, don't worry. I have this. And like, here's, there's a lot of family style servings in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would say, this is fine and you can have this. This one sauce has meat in it, so you can't have that one, but everything else you're good. I brought you a little bit extra of this to make up for the fact that you can't have that. Like really wonderful and accommodating. And like he would stop and chat with us about what was going on, because obviously the first night you're there, you get to see the wonderful Gaia perform, who was fabulous and an amazing singer. And he would stop and come talk to us and be like, oh my God, isn't she so amazing? Because, I made the mistake of being like, I have no idea who Gaia is. I hadn't looked, and everyone's like, she's an intergalactic superstar. And I was like, oh, of course she is. I think it's like if today you said to somebody, I have no idea who Beyonce is. Like, it was that level of reaction of like, how do you not know who that is?
Mm.
And I almost actually ended up in the whole plot line with Gaia and her manager. But I didn't end up going down that route.
I must admit, I've got friends who went on board and they downloaded and listened to all the music so they could sort of sing along and they were the kind of people that wanted to immerse themselves in the experience before they got to be immersed in the experience, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, which is cool, and I totally get that. I just wanted to like go in with no expectations.
Yeah, and it's how everybody does things. I didn't want to watch particular attraction videos, as you can see all the point of view videos and things like that. So I totally get it. I'd like to go in cold and get those raw emotions for myself with a little hint of a rough idea of what to expect.
Definitely.
So we've mentioned about food. I gather, let's just talk. No one's listening. Just tell me the secrets. There's a special place you could have gone to and got unlimited snacks to take to your room. How many did you fill in your suitcase?
Okay, so I was so full. I didn't take that many. First of all, I was so full, but it's not a secret. It's right next to the gift shop. They just have little packages of food and little treats and things like that. You can come at like pretty much any time of day. And they have coffee there in the morning, and there's a water machine whenever you want it. And just constantly food, there's like goldfish and things like that, but obviously like nicely packaged. And it was just amazing.
It sounds so fantastic. The food element for me, it is what would sell the experience. I'm not so much on the other bit, which we'll get to in a moment. Was there any other entertainment apart from the beautiful Gaia's singing?
So the first night you have dinner, you see Gaia perform, and there's always plot line happening. So the plot starts from basically the minute you get there, but it really ramps up right after muster around 4, and then it goes through dinner. So you have all sorts of plot points happening around you, and you're figuring out who's on whose side. And the second night is more chill because I think they know everyone's been running around all day. Most people were up at 2, like running around doing stuff, doing missions. And so the food itself is the performance the second night. It's supposed to be tasting around the galaxy, and they theme the room to the planet. So like there was one when we were supposed to be eating Mustafarian food, and it was all reds and oranges, and they had music in the background and things like that. So the whole room was shifted based on what planet you were supposed to be eating from.
Wow.
It was really amazing.
That sounds super cool. I am very well jelly.
It was amazing. There was also one point where they came around and they were spritzing some aromatherapy stuff as part of the dinner experience for one of the courses.
That's
Okay.
taking it to another level, isn't it?
Seriously.
So go on, we've talked about food. I've got my little food sort of thing sorted. The main thing people go on this experience for isn't for the food, it isn't for the room, it isn't for the comfort, is the missions and the experience. So can you talk us through and share details about that?
Oh my God, it was equal parts stressful and amazing, if I can explain, because I'm good at talking to people once I kind of have a connection with them, but just, cold speaking to someone you don't know is difficult. But I got really good advice from some of the other travelers. We met a group of people, and if I can take an aside here to talk about how amazing the other people on the cruise were, they made our trip. There was a group of people, and I don't know if they have a name for themselves or what, but they had been on, I think, 2 or 3 times before, and they were planning to do one more cruise, and they were like running their own side missions. Like they'd made up their own plot points and were just involving other people. I thought they worked there until I realized that they did not. But they were amazing and super friendly and just including everyone. And one of them explained to me, hey, if you see something happening, follow. If you want to talk to somebody, go talk to them. Like you have to accept that you're going to miss out on stuff, but just follow where your heart leads you essentially. And these other visitors were so nice. They had like trading cards of themselves. We met some of the interplanetary lightsaber champions. I have their trading cards on me right now. Just like you would talk to anyone from this group. I got a keychain that says, may the fourth be with you, or force be with you. They were handing out little like homemade credits, like just absolutely amazing. Really lovely bunch of people. And one of them explained to me that, I was like, I want to go resistance. Like that's my goal. I want to go full on resistance. He was like, I have not done that plot yet. And he'd been on the ship like 3 times already. So it's really kind of, I think, luck of the draw of how you end up where, because it's, what character do you stand near? Who do you talk to? What mission do you do? I ended up getting a message on my data pad because I kind of tried to break into a restricted system. And one of the characters is like, oh, hello. You seem to be trying to cause trouble. Do you want to be friends, essentially? There's all sorts of different stuff you can do. And so, like I said, I went full resistance. And what actually ended up happening is I saw my brother, his wife, and my boyfriend talking to this guy who is Sammy, the engineer. And so I go over and, we're all talking to Sammy and like, my family is a Sammy Stan family. We love and support Sammy, the engineer in this household. Like that actor was amazing to the point where one of our party who went to the dark side, went to the First Order, still feels kind of bad about lying and disappointing Sammy. Like that's how good these actors are. Like still feeling guilty. Like, oh, I can't believe I disappointed Sammy like that. Now there's gotta be more than 100 people on this ship and they remember everybody's names.
No
like
way.
Sammy, I would walk into a room and he'd be like, oh, where's, this person? Where's that person? Because, they were like my brother or something like that. And I'd be like, I don't know. He was over here. And, and then when I would be somewhere, they'd be like, where's Catherine? Like, where's Casey? Like, what's going on? And it was just amazing. When they realize that you're playing along and you're fully, like, you're playing along, they pull you into things. So I was in charge of hiding a suitcase that had something that we were trying to get to the resistance. And I had to help provide a cover story for some people. It was, it was crazy. It's a little bit stressful because you feel like if you sit down and relax, you'll miss out.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is, like, the first day is really the running around. You get messages on your data pad, and so you do little missions for your data pad, and then you get missions to do when you go to Batu. And then the second day, after you're doing missions, you get like meetings. So that was like, that made it less stressful for me because I was like, okay, I don't have to like run around the ship trying to find Sammy or the captain or the cruise director. I'm going to go here and the person's going to be there. So that made it like less stressful for me. But it was really cool because you would meet someone, and I guess how it was explained to me is your M band recognizes when you're close to one of the actors' M bands.
Mm-hmm.
It increases like your friendship level or your trust level with them in the app. And so that person will start messaging you and giving you tasks to do. And then based on your responses, you know, your trust level with them goes up or down.
So I suppose there's quite a lot of technical backup for all of these systems so that they know everything.
I mean, there must be for the app, but the thing is the actors themselves, they have microphones on, but they don't have like earpieces in or like cameras on them. I don't think they have anyone feeding them names. I think they're genuinely just that good at their job that they just remember you.
Wow.
Again, like my group, we sort of, I mean, my mom went full first order. And so did my boyfriend. He's the one who tricked us. We were the Sammy crew. Whatever Sammy needed, whatever missions he had for us, we went and we did it. So I think that might have made it a little bit easier because we're always, you know, some people are going from one group to the next group, and we were like, nah, we're sticking with Sammy. We're good. We got our man.
Awesome stuff.
Oh my God.
You were speaking at the beginning about your family all wanting to buy into this and 100% nerding out. Did it meet your expectations? Would you, if you could, want to revisit this experience? Over to you.
I think, especially because I went in with no expectations, my only expectation was like, okay, I'm going to get on this quote unquote ship, and there's going to be some actors, and there's going to be some Star Wars stuff. The level of detail that everyone and everything went into was just impeccable. Like, even by Disney standards, above and beyond. Like, it was a little bit exhausting. It was absolutely amazing, and it was just so much fun. I understand. So I think the main drawback is pretty much everyone else has said, the price point. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're not local, like the people, I think some of the people at least that we met that had been on multiple times had, you know, driven down. So they're close enough to drive. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, we had to fly down. So then there's the additional cost of flying down. You know, do you want to fly down just for this? Or are you going to stay and do Disney? So I think the costs are prohibitive. If, you know, if the price went down or I won a free trip, I'd absolutely do it again. I mean, I'd even maybe consider going again full price, but it's, you know, the stars would have to align kind of a situation. But it was absolutely worth doing, unbelievable.
I must admit, the enthusiasm I'm hearing from you about everything, every level, it just sounds so fantastic. In your opinion, why do you think people haven't embraced it like you have and made it a success that Disney wanted?
I think price point has a lot to do with it. I think it's amazing. And, you know, I hope the price point reflects the kind of pay that the people working there are getting, because they deserve to be making an absolute boatload of money. These people are working essentially a 48-hour shift and absolutely amazing, never dropping the ball. Like, they're amazing, and I hope they are being compensated fairly for that. But I think it's prohibitively expensive. I think there was kind of, I don't know if they picked necessarily the right time point to put it in, because they did put it, you know, you're very firmly in that newest trilogy timeline. At one point, you know, Kylo Ren and Rey are having a lightsaber battle. Like, you get to see Chewbacca, but other than that, you're very much firmly in like, oh, First Order officer over here, and there's Rey and Kylo Ren fighting. And so if that's, you know, if that's not what people connect with, if that's not, you know, their part of the trilogy, then I can kind of see why people be like, well, if I want to immerse myself in Star Wars, I can just go to the 2 and like pretend that it's not during the most recent trilogy.
I think from talking to, obviously, you know, I know a lot of Star Wars nerds, and two things that strike me from your conversation, Casey, is that the welcomingness and the openness of people into Star Wars, and that, getting involved, and you mentioned, coming across lovely people, and wanting to get you involved and all that. So I think that's very much what I experienced cosplaying with Star Wars people. There is something about us. We like to share our love of the Star Wars universe. But I also think there's the point you just raised there, that the time frame that the Star Cruiser was set in, I think kind of didn't sit well for a lot of hardcore old school Star Wars fans. And I think then you add on the price factor on top. I think that was kind of like a double whammy for some Star Wars fans out there.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I have my suspicions about why they're closing it when they're closing it, and it's largely tax related in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I mean, they've said, I think, that they're going to do something with the space, and I really hope they do, because it was just amazing. And I mean, I think, there's been talk about turning it into a dinner show, and I'm thinking, I don't know if dinner is enough time, because it's just, there was so much to do. I don't know how they do it. For example, there was we were just talking to one of the people working there in the lobby, and he sat us all down and taught us all how to play sabacc.
Wow.
Like, just an amazing bunch of people. And you really, the best advice I got was, you're going to miss stuff. Just be okay with that.
Was there a lot of people on your cruise, Casey, that were repeat cruisers, so to speak?
Oh, I think there was a group of like 15 of them. I don't know how many people were repeat cruisers, but like the people who were handing, like, lovely people giving out tips and tricks and handing out cute little keychains and trading cards and stuff. They were a group of like 15 people that I think had been on 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
I think a lot of people, it was a first cruise, but I did run across a bunch of people who'd done it several times.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and everyone was just like, oh, like, here's the secret passcode to do XYZ, and like, it was just amazing.
Can I just ask you, you've said about people giving away things. I know that this is something that happens quite a lot on Disney Cruise Line, where you pixie dust people or get involved in fish extenders and things like that. It seems to me that a lot of people who are on there have this Disney spirit at the core of them, maybe to a hyper level for the Star Wars level of this. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. So, like I said, I've never been on a cruise, but I'm looking at it right now. I mean, someone went and etched their own keychains and put cute little tassels on them. And, I follow some of the people that I was on the cruise with now on Instagram, and I saw some of the posts of them making these little credits that I saw them give out to people just in Batuu, not even on the cruise ship. Like, just in Batuu, because we're all walking around in our themed clothing in Batuu, and then there's other people, obviously, who are just visiting from, in the Hollywood studios regularly, and, pretty much anyone who talked to any of these people came away with, like, a little trinket. It was amazing.
Which is something we actually saw at Celebration this year. It was referred to as swag, but there was an awful lot of people that had gone to the Celebration with an amount of goodies, whether it was stickers, whether it was patches, whether it was, like you say, keychains, little cards, whatever. And there was a great, almost like currency going on of people searching out other people that had swag and were exchanging. And even though Sam and I weren't participating in that, we were given, little stickers and cards and bits and bobs as well along the way. So it might be that combination of when Star Wars and Disney collide.
Oh, definitely.
I think we can firmly agree that your family sound like they have has an amazing trip, but it's not over there. I think we're going to just end this conversation now, and we're going to talk a little bit more on our after show with regards to your Walt Disney World experience. So
Definitely.
For those of you who want to catch up with that, make sure you visit patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. You can find us anywhere and everywhere at Dis Dream Girls. But until our next time, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Bye.